What's happening?
Well, I was halfway through the second video when I decided my life isn't challenging enough right now, so I spilled my coffee into my keyboard.
Oh, no. That's like the worst possible thing that could have happened.
Yeah, well, it's up there. So I'm working from my desktop and my phone as I'm hoping my keyboard was about to is going to dry itself out. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
hopeful. The computer's turning on. I just can't, and I can use my mouse. I can't type anything in right now. So
Hopefully it dries out.
That's the hope. I don't need this hassle.
Kind of surprised nobody's here. There was like 13 last class.
I'm very surprised. You probably wouldn't want to do this if it's just you and I.
I can do it. I mean, I'm going to record it anyway. I said as long as there's.
Oh, dude. I'd love it. I've been waiting for it all day, but I understand if it's not what you're looking to do.
No, it's all right, man. That's
all right.
People still watch the recordings, right?
I am.
So maybe people will come streaming in here in a couple of minutes. Who knows?
Maybe.
I mean, there's like 30 some the first day.
There's somebody.
Oh, there's somebody.
Coyote?
Yeah. Okay, good.
It's very good. It's very different from, just doing trailheads or, just reading and also watching videos because it's interactive. So it's very good. You obviously know your stuff and you obviously are trying to translate that to us. So it's appreciated.
Yeah, I always tell this story in my classes, so now's a good time. Hello, everyone that's joining. When I first started, officially trying to become Salesforce certified, I lobbied my old boss to go to the official training. And they sent me to Indianapolis for a week. And I ended up...
fire hose.
Well, no. They basically read a PowerPoint to me and handed me a project manual that, was Trailhead before Trailhead, right?
Uh-huh.
So just click pathing you, reading a PowerPoint presentation to you. And I left there knowing nothing. I was like, I don't know anything. I didn't learn anything, And I swore if I was ever in a situation where I was going to train anybody, I would never do that. And then it just kind of came to pass that I became a trainer. And what I've tried to do in my classes is make it to where the learner feels like they're on a project. It's I want it to feel like an in-person class. And I want it to be delivered in such a way to where it's comfortable and people aren't just following, paint by numbers like Trailhead, because it just lulls people into a false sense of security on that. It's like, I got the Trailhead module, so I know that, and I guarantee you don't know that.
Right.
So,
I couldn't agree more.
And I was happy to hear that you're in sales. I come from a sales background. So we are desperately in need in the ecosystem of administrators and developers with a sales background, because developers hate sales as much as sales hates development. I don't mean people, right. I mean the actual work itself, right? So the people that are designing the system don't have a sales background. They don't really know what a business process is, right? So they end up creating, they end up doing a style of waterfall development where they're just adding all the functionality that they can think of, and they end up with this robust tool, but nobody knows how to use it, so it just kind of doesn't get used.
Yeah.
Or the alternative is the plunge that I talked about, where they fall into the plunge and they don't come out because somebody doesn't know how to configure properly. So, you've been a user of Salesforce. You worked for what was that, Next Gen or Skitch?
Next Gen, right.
Yeah, so they were the big player around here for a long time. I'm assuming they still are, but
no, we got purchased by Skitch.
Yeah,
so we got acquired. So Next Gen doesn't exist anymore.
Right. Matt's still there, isn't he? In some.
Matt's still there. Matt's one of the partners now. Matt's the dude of dudes.
Okay.
And I work directly for him on the sales team.
He's a really nice guy.
So he's a really nice guy. I've known him for years, and I've always wanted to, you know, my energies were all sales related. So there's plenty to do. And I never took the step back to really learn the product. So that's why I'm doing this for my next go round. So I'm sure nobody wants to hear about me. So why don't we jump into this?
No, we're good. We got a bunch of people. I was worried there for a minute, Doug. Not that worried because at least one person. I was sitting here thinking, wow, what if I come here and nobody shows up? That's going to bruise the old ego, right?
I was looking for a little one-on-one training. I thought I was in Fat City, but that's all good. I'll share you.
So welcome back, everybody. I'm glad to have you back with us. We're going to continue our deep dive into security here. Anybody try the homework? Anybody have any questions on the homework?
Ryan, I wasn't able to, this is Harmeet. I wasn't able to edit the profile. I'm not sure why that is. The option didn't come up.
What was the requirement?
I was trying to set up the hidden, the tab hidden for the objects, but I wasn't able to edit anything.
Were you logged in as Joe?
No, I was logged in as a system admin.
You were logged in as the admin and you couldn't make the change. Okay, so here's how I would do it. Actually, why don't we just pass you the ball here and you can show your screen. That's probably the most useful here. I'll stop share. You should see a big share button in the center of the screen, share screen.
Yeah. Share.
It's just a little lag, I think. One moment. I've got a black screen here. One sec. All right, there we go. I can see now. See all those tabs he's got open?
Yeah, I've been lazy and not closing them.
This with Salesforce, especially in Lightning experience, you got to police those up. It's killing your RAM. See how slow it's running?
Yeah.
It just chews up RAM in Lightning, especially with screen share. So it's just a good lesson. You know, when you're working in Salesforce, keep those tabs managed. I like to keep them under 3 if possible.
Okay.
One thing I noticed, Ryan, is when you go to the setup, it opens up a new browser window.
Yeah, it does. It's like when you go to users, it does the same thing. It has little weird quirks like that. It'll drive you crazy till you get used to it. It's coming around eventually here, I think, maybe.
It's jammed.
Yeah, I'd close those windows. How many gigs of RAM you got?
Was 16?
Oh, you do have 16. Wow.
Yeah.
See what I mean? It just chews up RAM. And it didn't always do that. It started doing that around Dreamforce this year. I did a class, an online class when Dreamforce was happening, and I thought maybe there were just that many people logged in. It was running slow for some reason. But I think maybe it was the release. It slowed things down quite a bit. And it's funny because they named the tool Lightning, and it's actually slower than Classic. There you go. Okay, profiles.
Yeah, processing.
I also find with these screen shares initially, when people are logging in and everybody's kind of getting connected, they do tend to take a little bit longer to share as well.
Yeah, I think that's what it is as well.
Because we got, I mean, multiple continents on this call right now, I'd wager.
Ryan, one other thing that we I don't think we highlighted or talked about that I found on the trailhead as far as using the enhanced profile user setting.
Mm-hmm. That makes the profile look like the permission set,
Right.
which I don't like it at all. You probably don't either.
No, I really wanted to find out what it was going to do for me, so I went back and forth a few times this morning, flipping back and forth just to see what the changes were.
You know what? Why don't I take the ball back from you? Let's see if I can just do it how I do it. Just
Okay.
because it's being
All right.
very slow.
Yeah, and I'll see if it loads up again. Yeah.
There we go. Everybody see my screen now? So I would, you know, you're going to the profile here. And then find your profile of interest. You remember there's two ways to affect change to a profile. If I don't hit edit, I can change the page layout, field level security, and record type settings. If I do hit edit, the first set of settings I can change are the app settings.
Mm-hmm.
Then down
Yeah, I didn't
here,
get that. I didn't get that edit button that you had.
you don't have the edit button.
No, the one that you just clicked on.
Here?
Yeah. Or click clone, delete, or use it. User.
You didn't have any of these?
No.
And you sure it was you? You were the admin profile?
Yeah, I did check, and I think it did. Yesterday I checked, and I was the admin profile. I had the admin profile.
It could have been a loading speed thing. Like sometimes with Lightning, if you refresh your browser, sometimes it takes a while for stuff to kind of pop onto the screen.
Uh-huh.
I would look again if you can get in there and see if it's there. Because if you're the admin profile, what do you have? I mean, as far as permissions that we've talked about.
I mean, I should have all admin, all permissions, right?
Notice that the admin profile is just a profile.
Mm-hmm.
In a perfect world, I don't use the admin profile. What do you think I do?
You clone it?
I would, well, I probably wouldn't clone it. What would I clone?
Clone the pro.
In a perfect world, how many profiles do we have?
One profile.
So which one do you think I would clone?
Sure.
Well, I want to clone the one that's restricted, right?
Okay.
And then add permissions to that profile.
Yeah, I'd say you'd probably start with the user profile, the standard user, and then grant permissions and access later.
Well, you could, but I kind of already did that once with the custom sales profile, didn't I?
Right. So Ryan, you may even want to just start with your own custom profile with bare bones and then build from there. Right?
That's it. That's exactly my point. So what I'm saying is people get really hung up on this administrator status. It's like, well, the system administrator is just a standard profile. Do we change standard profiles?
Shouldn't, right?
No, they come out of the box that way. You can hide tabs and things, but you can't make a whole lot of changes. If I do hit edit here, you know, there's the tabs. He said he didn't have the edit button. But look, if I'm the admin, do I want everything turned on for myself?
I would think so.
So think about it this way. I configure my profile as if I'm a user. I'm just another user. I need more functionality. I might add permissions, right? But I'm constantly configuring my own profile as an admin. I don't just turn everything on and work with the full tool rocking in every way, all the tabs. And you'll see that. You'll go out in the field and you'll see that there are admins that have every tab on the top of the bar and every checkbox is checked and they're using the wide open tool. But why should I be special? If I'm the admin, wouldn't less visibility be just as important for me and the project that I'm working on as it would be for a user? I configure my profile to meet my requirement for that day's stuff that I'm doing. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
That way, I'm not getting lost in the details, right? I configure my own profile to meet the requirement of what I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
It will really help you think about what you're doing and streamline your work. You know, if I don't need to see campaigns and leads and all that stuff, I don't have it there. Just like I was a user. See, this is too much, right?
Yeah. You don't need all those tabs.
I have a question. By having all the extra stuff open, like as you said, the campaigns and leads and stuff that maybe in the current example that you're looking at, would that have an additional drain on resources, like in terms of like speed and bandwidth and stuff? Like just like a moment ago with the other display being open, it would slow things down. So if you shut all that stuff down, would that likely speed up your working from one screen to the next?
Technically, I can't say for sure yes, but theoretically, I think it's true because my apps are always lightning fast for my clients.
If nothing else, I would think it would mentally speed you up because you've got less to choose from.
That's it. That's all it is. You're setting yourself up. It's like, all right, what am I doing? Okay, so what do I need? All right, I'll put these tabs. You know, I might put them all in default off, right? So I might have all the tabs. They just wouldn't be on the bar. I'm setting my bar up for success here for myself, just like I would a user. It's the same thing. Did you happen to get in there and see, do you still not have that edit button?
Yeah, I don't have it.
So go to your users and look at the profile under your user.
Right, okay.
It says system admin.
I'll just check. It's just loading up slowly a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see here. I need my pen. Anybody else have a homework question? There it is.
Yeah, I'm system admin, but my profile is Australia VP Sales. The role.
The role is it?
Yeah.
Well, you would be logged in as yourself.
Yeah.
At the top of the screen, it doesn't say logged in as Joe.
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay.
I just logged in, right? I just logged in and under my profile. I didn't change
so
it.
Then go back to the profile again and see if it's there. Maybe refresh your browser once you get back there. That doesn't make any sense, right? You have basically all permissions.
I do, yeah.
You know, so that edit button should be there. It might just be a browser issue.
Okay, could be a browser issue.
So try and refresh when you get back there.
I'll take a look, yeah, no problem.
Have you tried using Salesforce in another browser?
Yeah, what browser are you in? Are you in Chrome?
I'm using Chrome, yeah.
Okay, that's always, you got to use Chrome for sure.
I'm using Chrome. It may be that I need to just close everything down and restart my PC. Maybe that's.
Yeah, that could be too. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't.
So review here. What do I get
I'll
if
take
I
a
own?
look at it.
What do I get if I own the record?
Full access.
All right, trick question. What are the ways we can get full access? Ownership, roles. Can I do it with OWDs?
Yes.
You can give full access with OWDs?
I believe so.
All right, so define OWDs for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. The role hierarchy, you can get full access.
Because of the role subordinate relationship, right? It overrides OWDs using a system of roles and subordinates.
Yeah.
What's the highest level of access I can give in OWDs?
Public.
Public read-write
Read-write
transfer,
transfer.
correct?
Right.
Read-write transfer on some objects. But you still wouldn't be able to delete, and you still wouldn't be able to manually share those records. So you can't get full access with OWDs. Ownership, role hierarchy, how else?
Profiles.
On the profile, where are they? What permissions? What allows us to be super users in Salesforce?
The view all, modify all,
View all, modify all. What's that give us?
full access.
Full access. Can I get it through sharing rules?
No.
What's the highest level of access I can give with sharing?
Read write.
Read write. Very good. Could I give them with a permission set?
Yes.
Yep. You could give view all, modify all permissions with permission set, right? It's the only way to get full access on the permission side. That's all good stuff. Everybody feel pretty solid about this part and above from here up? We got OWDs, role hierarchy, profiles, permission sets. If I do hit edit on the profile, what's the first grouping of settings I can change?
Is it apps?
What's an app?
That means
Collection of
Group of objects and relationships that meets a business requirement. What if I only choose one app? What will happen? That's the only app they'll see in the app launcher, right? Think it's better to have more or less apps?
Yes.
But if you go and look, there's like 20 apps that they have for the admin sitting there, you know? Okay, what was after app settings?
Edit tabs.
What's a tab setting? Or what's a tab?
Representation of object
Visual representation of an object. What's default on mean?
that you can see it in as well as you can see it.
It's on the bar and in the area. That's what I always think. It's on the all tabs bar, and it's also in the tabs area on the app launcher. The little blue links below the apps. What if it's default off?
It's just on the app.
Just in the area, right? In the app launcher? Not on the bar, but in the area, and then hidden, they won't see it at all, right? What comes after tab settings?
That's in standard.
Admin.
It's our system permissions, general user and administrative permissions. Our check boxes with reports and dashboards, remember those? And then what's after system permissions?
Object.
What's an object?
Standard and custom.
Standard or custom? Standard meaning it comes out of the box. Custom means we created it from scratch. What is an object?
Group of functionalities.
It
Go ahead.
contains records.
table.
It's a table where the columns are called fields and the rows are called,
Record.
what do we call the sheets like on Excel?
Tabs.
Tabs. Good. We have our CRED settings, create, read, edit, and delete. There's also view all, modify all here. Now that doesn't give full access to everything. It just gives full access to the records in that object. So another way to get full access would be through view all, modify all in the object settings. There's system wide in the system permissions and object only full access available for view all, modify all. What comes after object permissions? It's like desktop integration client, session settings, password policies, right? That's if you do hit edit. What if you don't hit edit? What can you change?
Page layout.
Page layout. Field level security, and record type settings. There's also down in the related list login hours and IP ranges. What's a permission set?
It's added permission.
Additional permissions above and beyond a user's profile. Where do they get assigned?
Mummy?
They get assigned to the user.
The user. They're going to try and trick you into saying profile there on the exam.
Yeah.
What happens if we change the profile?
Change the profile.
If I make a
It's just gonna
change
be
to a
access.
profile, it's also a template to be assigned to a user or a group of users, right? Roles and profiles. So if I have 20 people assigned the profile and I change it, what happens? Changes for everybody, right?
Yeah.
If I make a change to the profile, everyone assigned that profile will see or witness the change.
Mm.
Whereas with the permission set, where does it get assigned?
Just for the user.
The user.
Mm.
See the difference?
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's there. Down here, we've got sharing rules. We talked about some object level sharing. Does everybody remember that? Click path me. Where did we go? Security sharing settings, right? Below OWDs, we took Western and shared with Eastern, that object level sharing rule. What's the highest level of access we can share with a sharing rule?
Read write.
Read write. Can I give full access?
No.
Nope, just read write. What else did we talk about? Is that all further we got? Oh, we did a two-way share with a public group. What's a public group do?
It gives access to the other group's records.
Well, it doesn't actually share anything. We're not sharing anything with the group. We're just grouping with the group. We have to then go back and share, remember? We created the group, put Western and Eastern in it, and then shared the group with itself.
Oh, yeah.
So we use public groups and sharing rules to give access when OWDs are restrictive. If you can't do it with the role hierarchy, there's really no other way to do it, unless you want to set OWDs to a less restrictive setting. There's another, this was object level. When you hear people talk about a sharing rule, they're talking about object level sharing. There's also record level sharing. It's called a manual share. And it's only available out of the box in Classic. It's a button that says share on the record. I'll show you. There is an app that you can download from the App Exchange that will give you an action instead of the button. But if I go to an individual record here, well, first I'm going to need to switch to Classic. What's Classic?
User interface.
Yeah, it's the
original.
old user interface.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I was going to get off of it.
Uh-huh.
It's like a bad habit. You know?
I bounced for a while.
Yeah, well, there was a reason to for a while. It wasn't a full tool yet. But now it's a no-brainer to go to Lightning. Here's a manual share. We're sharing on the record itself. What are we sharing? That record. Who are we sharing it with? This is what they call the sharing model here when you hear people talk about the sharing model. The sharing model. What are we sharing?
Access?
Access, right? Do I share permissions?
No.
No, it's all, we're always talking
You
about
assign them.
access with these. If OWDs are set to private, then we're going to be using the sharing model quite a bit. We use it for other things as well. You'll see this quite a few times. But we can share all the way down to the user level if we wish. As such, notice down here, it has the account, contact, opportunity, and case because it knows you really don't care about the account record. What is an account record?
I think you said it's like an entity that you intend to do business with.
It's a business relationship we want to track. Really, the way I think of an account record is if I was doing a manual filing system, what would I write on the outside of the folder?
Company name.
Right. So anything that would go on that folder, you know, serial number, all of that kind of stuff, email, phone number, whatever that is. It's just a folder that we put other stuff in. So they know you don't really care about the account. What we care about is the related records to that account. What's the highest level of access we can give with a manual share?
Read write.
See that? What are we sharing?
Account info.
We're sharing one record, access to one record, right? With one user here. That's a manual share. I'm going to go back to Lighten. So what I'm going to show you now kind of changes gears a little bit. It's still sharing, but we got to kind of change our mindset. So when we talked about in a perfect world, what you would like to see for an organization is our plunge graph again, productivity over time. So we fall into the plunge and then we come out hopefully. Do you think it's more or less expensive to set up security properly?
Less.
In the long run, definitely in the long run. But in the short run, do you see how proper configuration of security costs? You know what, Chris, you probably know better than I. Do you know what a good hourly rate is nationally?
For an admin?
Sure.
Between 65 and 85 bucks an hour.
That's salaried?
Oh, salary, we're looking at 90, between 80, 95K for a season one.
So in some cases, I work with companies where the owner doesn't even make that much money.
Right.
You see the problem? So what did we say? Do we want to be more restrictive or less restrictive here? More restrictive. So the way that we've been doing this is starting off with a very simple application, starting with our main business process, which is what?
Sales.
Our sales process, which is physically what on the opportunity record?
Path, sales path?
Well, the path is on the record page, but where do you put the values in the path?
Stages.
The stage pick list, right? That's our main process. What other objects are we going to need in order to meet this process?
Accounts, contacts.
So we're going to start very, very simple, and we're going to start very restrictive. But we already said if we set OWDs to private, that can cost a lot of money that they don't have. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to set, one option for you would be to set them to public read write. Doesn't that solve our problem?
With that, everyone can read and write.
Well, everyone will have access to everything.
Yes.
Read and edit. And then we can control what they can do where.
Permission set.
Profile. The permission side of the matrix, right? So if they've got read, write over here, create, read, and edit over here, does that pretty much solve their problem? It's just everybody's going to have access. But that's not the way I like to do business. If I can get away with it, it's not the best practice. So what I'll do is I'll set OWDs to private. And instead of going through the standard security rigmarole, I'm going to use what they call account teams. So what will happen is there's going to be a related list. If this is my record with the components, there's going to be a related list associated with it called account team on the record itself. Think kind of like a manual share, but with a related list instead of a button. You know, here's the detail section.
Which record the account team will be on?
It's going to be on the account record. So let's set it up and you can see it. But what I can do is add individuals to that account team, and it will allow me to give access to related objects as well.
So
So
this
now
account team will be a public group?
No, it's going to be a related list that you can add users to. So if you go to setup, first thing we'll have to do is enable the account team. I'm getting sick of the hummingbird and wolf. I've been looking at it too long. I think they need to bring back Einstein. So we're going to go in the quick find, type in account team. Under sales, you'll find account teams here. Now you want to be sure you do this correctly. So pay attention. If you're asleep, wake up. We're going to enable account teams by clicking on this blue link here. And then I'm going to check this box. And be careful on this next one because there's like 5 and it looks like there's only 4. Make sure that you click all of these. Now, what this is saying is we're going to add the related list to all of these page layouts. Well, currently, how many page layouts do we need?
Only one.
One. So,
Yes.
you know, somebody was in here and created a bunch of stuff we don't need. You see that? We'll have to deal with that later, won't we? I'll hit save. So now account teams are enabled. And what we've done is we put a related list on every page layout. And now we can use that related list to add users to it. So if I go to an account record here in the sales application, see account teams down here? So what I can do is add team members, and I can add Joe. Whoops. Joe. And then the team role is just a label. It has no other function. Read only. Probably don't want other people messing with account records. The owner should probably be doing that, so I'll leave that read only. I probably don't want them changing somebody else's contacts. Make that read only. We're not using the case object, but with ops, they're probably going to need read and write because they need to change those records. So I have given access through an account team here. I'll give everybody a moment to catch up. Go ahead and enable account teams. And then go to a record and add Joe to the team. You can add access levels for each one of these as I've shown you. Does everybody get the general idea of what a team does? This one tends to be a head scratcher for lots of folks. Now, keep in mind, this is very simple stuff. I can't get really complex with a bunch of custom objects here or anything. But when we start out, we can begin the process with a private org, still give the access they need without going through role hierarchies or sharing rules, stuff like that.
So you're just thinking us on another approach to what we've already covered, just using a team instead, correct?
Yep. It's a way to set it up quickly with best practices in mind, and then once you get back through the productivity line and they start showing ROI, you can then start working on customizing things further. At that point, they're usually on board and like, okay, what can we do next? My last client that I had, he had a call center with like 8 or 10 people in it. And unfortunately, they all got laid off some time ago. But I mean, 8 salaries he could eliminate. And I'm going to tell this to you, and I mean it. This industry is in the putting people out of work business. You got to come to terms with that. Unskilled labor is going bye-bye, period. A lot of the reason I do these classes is because I feel bad about people, unskilled employees getting laid off because their jobs are no longer necessary, right? You have to come to terms with that. It's no fun, but it's just the truth. The way that we save money using Salesforce is by trimming the fat where we can. Well, where does the fat always reside in an organization? Where does all their money always go?
CEOs.
Well, see that
the consultants.
It goes to labor. I mean, I'm not talking about multi-billion-dollar organizations here. I'm talking about,
Right.
Ryan's company, right? The people that actually work in this country.
Sure.
I'm not talking about people that don't work. I'm talking about the people that actually do something, right? To them, hiring another employee, if I've got less than 20 employees, hiring another employee is almost impossible. So what we're doing is trimming the fat here. The lowest hanging fruit always goes first. And it's, if I can eliminate an administrative person that's turning paper into paper, anybody seen that happen before?
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody that sits in the office and takes one Excel sheet and merges it with another Excel sheet and then passes the Excel sheet to some other poor fool that has to do the same thing, right? Those days are gone. And the faster companies figure it out, the better off they're going to be in the long run, especially now with everybody working from home and stuff. Anyway, does anybody need more time on this? How would you test it?
Login is that user and account team, right?
Yeah, we're going to need to log in as Joe, but first I'm going to need to restrict him back down. I don't know what I've given him. You know what I mean? He might already had access to that record. So I'm going to go back and make sure that he's all the way restricted down. So where are we going to start? If I'm going to restrict a user's access, where do we do that? There's only one way to restrict access. Where is it?
OWDs.
Do you see how we're starting with one?
Sharing settings.
We're starting with the first step, which is always check your OWDs. Because what does that tell you?
That the individual has private access, record level access actually.
Yeah, there's only one way to restrict access to a record, and what is that?
OWDs.
OWDs, and they have to be set to what to be restricted?
Private.
Well, read only or private, right?
Yeah.
Technically, read only is restrictive. It's more restrictive than public read write. Less restrictive than private. But I'm pretty sure I set all my stuff to private. So I know if OWDs are private, what does that tell me?
You
That
can only see no records.
Joe's not gonna see the record unless he owns it, right?
Owner gets full, everybody else gets
Private. Zero.
none. So what if you have no access? What'll happen when you search for the record?
I don't see it.
You won't see it at
You see
all. So
nothing.
that's been restricted. What's step 2? Think about the matrix.
Where is this in the role hierarchy?
Let's go to the role hierarchy and make sure that user is not assigned a role in the hierarchy. I'm just going to go to his user detail record because I can see his role there and change it there as well. He doesn't have a role. So if he has no role in the hierarchy, what should he see now? He still has what level of access at this point?
Private, right?
None, right? So he still has no access. So at this point, only the only records he will have access to are what?
Ones he owns.
Records he owns. OWDs were set to private. That equals no access, right? Role hierarchy, not, also NA. So if through ownership is one way he would have access, what's the other way?
Through roles.
No, he has no role in the hierarchy.
Sharing.
It's some sort of sharing. That's the only other way to get access. You see that? So if I log in as Joe now, and I look at an account, where's he getting this access from? One
Share
record.
to him. Right.
We shared it how? See? With the account team related list. Could have been a manual share, could have been an object level share, but if there's only one record, odds are it's either, there's only 2 ways to share one record. Anybody tell me what they are?
Yes. Manual share.
Manual share.
And then
What are the
account
key
team.
points of a manual share? Where do I find a manual share?
In sharing settings.
Nope. You have to go to Classic. Remember? There's a sharing button in Classic on the record. The other way is an account team. Now, knowing what we know now, what if I've got 15 million records? Does that create a problem for using this account team functionality? You won't have to go in and manually add people to every account. So what might be nice?
To have a profile.
Well, I think you got the answer right, but I think you were wrong. If you were talking about if we could do it based on a user profile or a user detail record,
User profile.
that would be the correct answer. So what I'm saying is, wouldn't it be nice if I could go to the person that owns the records here, Ryan? I'm the record owner. I own all the records. Once we enabled account teams, you'll notice that there is an account teams related list down here. It's default account team right here. The default account team will add the team to all of the account records owned by that user. So I can put this, automatically add my default account team to accounts that I create or accounts that are transferred to me. Wow, that's clear as mud, right? This is anything new. This one, update account teams with these members is anything that already exists or old. So if I check both of these boxes, it will put Joe on every account record on my team with these access levels at once. So if I add Joe to my default account team, I'll give them read only, read write, private, and sales rep. So now I add Joe to my default account team on the user detail record, and that gives access to all records that Ryan owns to the people on the team. This is generally speaking what I do. Who are going to own the records if we were talking about like an org chart in most cases?
Right.
Who's going to own ops?
Creator.
Sales, right?
Yeah.
So the sales rep will own the op, own the account, own the contacts, and then his team, I will give access through a default account team as such. So if I save this, go back, log in as Joe, you're going to see a lot more stuff here. I hope I recorded this session. Yeah, I did. Okay, so now if I go and look, if I go to all accounts, does he own them?
No.
No.
No. So if I go to the account, what level of access do I have?
Is it full access?
Read only.
We got read only, didn't we?
So.
And then we got create, read, edit. I got view all modify over here, right? Or I'm Joe right now. Joe's got create, read, and edit, right? So should he be able to change the account record?
No. Should he be able to, or can he? No.
Looks like there's a problem. What's the problem?
He don't have access.
You don't have, you've got read only. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Can we transfer ownership?
No, you cannot.
Only the record owner can, right?
This is interesting. We shouldn't be able to do this. I'm logged in as Joe, right? Yeah. What does that say?
Don't have permission.
You don't have permission. What does he really not have?
Access.
Do you see how they use them interchangeably?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, Ryan, when you say he doesn't have access, I consider it he has access to view the record.
He has read-only access, correct? But right now, here's what he's got going on. Because what does he have on the profile side? Correct? What's he got on his access side?
Read.
So what does he get?
Read only.
So now
Read only.
It's not permission, is it?
No, it's
He has
access.
permission. What does he not have?
Access.
Okay, so this is why nobody can learn security properly. Nobody has taught them properly. Trailhead does not teach you security. Did you get that already?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you try the security stuff?
No.
Try it. During the break, try that security on Dev Beginner. And you tell me. This is a perfect example of project experience versus Trailhead. Okay, so then if I come down here and I look at related, Contacts, what did we give him? You know now, don't you? What level of access does he have on contacts?
Read only.
Read only. What's he got on his profile for permissions?
What's it? Create, read, and edit.
Create, read, and edit. So what's his problem here? He doesn't have what?
He doesn't have
Access.
read.
Access.
Yeah, doesn't have access.
He doesn't have access, and there they said access, right?
They said permission.
They said permission on the other one when I tried to
Oh,
change
Transfer
ownership of
ownership.
the record, I think. Then for opportunities, what did we give him?
Let's say.
Right?
We gave him read and write, didn't we?
Yes.
So then our matrix looks like this now. We've got read, write, and cred, or Cree. What's he got?
Read and write.
Can he?
Right. Oh, read. Wait a minute.
If he's got read, write access, and create, read, and edit, what will he actually be able to do? Can he edit
Read
the
and write.
record?
Yes.
No, read it. Well, what's right? What's right versus edit? I'm sorry to
They're the
ask that.
same. They're essentially the same.
Okay, so he can read and write.
Yeah,
So we
edit
can-
is the checkbox on the permission side that allows you to edit a record. Read, write is the access level.
But if
So-
you can write to something, you can edit it, or vice versa.
Yeah, it's the
So
same thing.
okay. So he's
Now
got read
he is-
write.
He has access and permission, doesn't he?
Yes.
Can he transfer ownership?
No. No.
No.
Why not?
Because he have only
Uh,
read and write access.
He has read, write. He doesn't have full, does he?
Yes.
What doesn't he have?
Transfer.
He doesn't have
Permission, it says.
not permission.
Doesn't have,
That's what it says. I'm saying that's the.
Yeah. It's not permission. The problem is he doesn't have full access.
Right.
He has permission but no access to do that. Have we turned a bit of a quarter here?
we're getting there.
Yeah. The aha moment usually starts to happen right about now. If not, it's okay. We got plenty of
Working on
time.
I turned the corner, but I tripped on a crack in the sidewalk. So
Yeah.
we're,
Welcome to Salesforce. My name is Ryan, right?
Yeah.
That's the story of my life.
Yeah,
It's-
is
no, it-
transfer is transfer available as a permission?
There is, I believe, if you go to the system permissions and Control F transfer, I think there is a permission in there.
And so even if you gave him that, he would still get that error message, right?
Yeah, he had permission because he can change ownership of records he owns because he's got full access.
No, he had read write.
Okay, but
So
for records he owns, he would have what?
Yeah, full access. I'm just saying for the example that you just did, where
Right.
we couldn't transfer the opportunity or transfer the content, whatever it was. Even if we gave him transfer permission on the object, it would have still restricted him. Correct?
Yep, you've got permission but no access. That's why it's view, edit, share, transfer, and delete up here, right? That's full. So in this case, would he be able to share? Does he own the record?
No.
No. Does he have full access?
No.
So can he share?
No.
What are we transferring?
ownership.
Ownership, which means we're really transferring what?
Full access.
Yep.
So,
Could he delete here?
Mm, no.
Nope.
No.
Got to have full to delete.
So read write basically just gives the VE of the VESTD.
That's it.
Right.
This is the stuff that people do not understand, and you can see why. But what it will do for you in your career is it will make you an utter rock star. Because I guarantee you just about everybody you work with does not understand security. Because if you look at the study guide, it's like 12% of the whole exam. People can skip it and still pass, which is just ridiculous to me. You cannot be an admin if you don't understand security. Not a good one. It's everything. It's the one gift I can give you that you can take from here and be successful almost entirely on a good understanding of security, because everything else comes from that tree. We're going to leave the security module, but it's going to come back over and over and over. Everything we talk about has security involved with it. Who sees what? That's what we're talking about. Who sees it? What's the interface look like? How much functionality are you giving that user? My answer is always as little as possible. Do you think when you're plunging, especially if they had already fell into the plunge and been there for a while, do you think they like it when you take away all their permissions and access here?
Of course not.
It's just human nature, right?
Right.
You feel like we're losing. It's like you never used it, but when I turn it off, you miss it. You know?
That's human nature. Yep.
Yeah. So like out here, I asked them, we do our business requirements gathering. And, you know, really what I am is a social worker at that point. Because I come in and their organization is obviously broken. So do you think people are happy about that situation?
No.
So the whole time you're plunging, they're basically saying this.
I hate Salesforce.
And they've been saying it, you know, all along. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, right? So then I come in, I do my business requirements gathering, which usually ends up being like an attorney-client privilege conversation so they can vent. A lot of times people just need to vent. Be like, look, I'm not going to record this. I'm not going to rat you out to the stakeholder. You know, I'm trying to find out what the real problems are. So let me know. And I do the same thing with the stakeholders, the middle management, anybody I can interview during business requirements gathering. I want to interview them because you can learn a lot. But inevitably, we roll the thing out and then they really hate it because it's new. And you know what they always say? That's not how we used to do it. It's like, well, you told me for, you know, I spent 15 hours with you guys and you did nothing but complain about how much you hated it, right? This is the wages of being a consultant. Do you think they trust you?
No.
How do you think Sam, the person that did this, feels about you?
Threatened.
Absolutely threatened. So you know who I take under my wing almost immediately? Sam, because
That guy.
Sam tried and failed.
Yep.
But that's okay. What I'll do is when I first come on, I have a real light touch with Sam. This is well before I do any of the other BRG. I'll go in and I'll find out who Sam is, and I'll get in touch with Sam and be like, hey, you know, can you give me some of the stuff on your plate that's just been driving you crazy and you haven't had time to do it? And I just clean up his messes. And he'll pretty easily see that I know a lot more than he does. And then you make that person your delegated admin. It's like, look, my goal is to get you certified by the time I leave this project. What did I do for him there? What did I say I'm eventually going to do?
Leave the project.
I'm going to leave. And in the meantime, while we're together, I want you to be a good admin. So I'm going to train you up and make you better. Do you think I have an ally in Sam then?
Big time.
If I don't, then Sam is not the right person for this gig. Because as a consultant, I don't want to have to do every little thing. if I got 3 or 4 projects going at once, you know, I got a lot of plates on sticks. I don't want to be going in and creating users and, you know, creating list views for people. If I can have an internal person that can do that, that's better for me. I want to be doing integrations, data migrations, adding new business processes, business analysis. That's the kind of stuff I want to be doing. I don't want to be in the platform building the thing. I hate that. I like the chase. You know, I like to hunt it down, solve their problems, get it working, and then, you know, on to the next one. They call me up when they need their marketing team to you know, it always goes from sales to accounting. Tends to be the natural role of things. So, you know, they'll do the sales process down here, and then up here somewhere they'll be like, okay, let's get our accounting integrated. And then, you know, up here somewhere you might have service.
Where's marketing?
You know, frankly, the people that I deal with are usually not doing a whole lot of marketing. If they are, they usually have an app. Like I dealt with a modeling firm, like, you know, models in pictures and movies. They did a lot of marketing, but they had another application they were using for that. And frankly, I am not a marketing guru. I'm more sales oriented. I can do it all, but I'm not out there pushing to get more marketing work, if that makes sense. If that's what you do, there's a huge demand for it. I like to take people like me, somebody that started with $500 in a dream, right? And then streamline their companies to where they can move really effectively and make more money and have good ROI and everything works seamlessly. That's who I like to cater to, because that's who I am. I'm not going to go out and get the big government contracts, or I'm not going to go out and get the large multi-billion-dollar organizations. I don't have, you know, 100 resources behind me. So, you know, it's a little different from my end. Some of you might work for large organizations, and that's a great thing. If you can get on at PwC or Deloitte or Aperio, I mean, that's great for a new admin, because they see so many projects in rapid succession. They'll burn you out. I do all their training. Burn them out, buddy. 2 years, they're like, I got to get out of here. But it really kind of forges you into a quality resource. And the ecosystem knows that. If you have those credentials that you worked for PwC or Deloitte for a number of years, moved up through the ranks, it looks good on a resume, believe it. Don't you think, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, if I don't pontificate every now and then, this stuff gets really, really dry. So.
Yeah,
Right.
please
Yeah. One
do
thing
that. Please
to
do that,
discuss.
What's that?
Ryan, one thing to bring up, you know, you mentioned kind of the commodity driven market and jobs going away and things of that nature. You know, the one thing that I'm seeing more of, and I don't think we're quite there yet, but I think it's a matter of time, as far as admins becoming a commodity, right? Especially because, you know, salaries are continue to go up on the admin positions, right? And so now I'm seeing more and more customers wanting that quote unquote admin developer combo to make sure they get their money's worth when it comes to hiring an admin that also can do integration or do Apex and do some of these more custom things versus your run-of-the-mill admin.
Well, I would argue with the modern tool that we have now, everybody says they want these developers that can do all this coding. You don't need it. You do not need it.
Right.
With the process builder and visual workflow, what else do you need to do? You see what I mean?
I do.
They are living off of an old paradigm when we had to use Apex for everything, when we had to use Visualforce for everything. Those people were they were in high demand because there weren't that many of them. But the modern tool with component-based development, the Lightning UI, the App Exchange, you don't need these people. Right. The vast majority of times, they don't even use that functionality. If they're any good at all, they avoid it at all costs. Because once you go to Apex, you're stuck in a version of Salesforce forever.
That stuff doesn't update when the 3 updates come out each year, right?
The only way to get an update as far as the version is to use point and click declarative functionality. Everything else, you get stuck.
Yeah.
And then what happens if somebody comes in, writes all kinds of code, and then they leave?
we've
Seriously.
had projects like that before.
Yeah.
No, that's where you had to undo a mess.
Untie the
Shoestring, as you
shoestring.
said. There you go.
Do us all a
All right.
favor, please. You know, when you're out there working, do things correctly. I almost won't take those jobs anymore. I've been working, well, until recently, who knows what I would do now, but previous to our current situation, I was getting to the point where I just didn't take, when I got in there and saw what was going on, I just wouldn't take the work. I'd hand it off to somebody. Because I don't like to configure. Especially unconfiguring somebody's nightmarish mess that they created because they were, you know, teaching themselves Salesforce in a production org. I see that all the time.
Well, it's steady work.
Well, they got to look busy, right?
Well, I'm saying undoing messes is steady work.
Oh, it is steady work, and I applaud anybody that enjoys that kind of thing. There's a lot of people that would hate what I do. You know, dealing with angry customers, cleaning up messes, talking to lots of people, trying to extract business requirements. You know, that's like pulling teeth for some people. With a sales background that I have, I just have a knack for that. So, you know, I feel like you need to really specialize, but in this industry especially, you need to kind of specialize in a certain thing and make that your shtick. I mean, always learn new things. But I mean, when I say, oh, we got to have Apex, you have to have a deep understanding. I want platform 2 developer. It's like, you guys are out of your mind. Do you think those people are going to go work for a salary?
Most don't. Nope.
Why is that?
What do you mean?
Well, if I can work 12 hours a week and make 150 grand a year,
good work.
Why would I go and work 50, 60 hours a week, make the same money? I'm sure Chris sees this all the time. The people with those kind of credentials are not looking for a job. Is that right, Chris?
That's right. When I used to do Siebel, you know, I worked at Accenture and big consulting companies, left, went independent for 10 years and made either twice as much if I went to work around the clock or same amount and work half as much as I did before.
How many hours do you guys think I work a week? Any thoughts?
When you're on a project, you're saying, right?
Yeah, well, sometimes I have to put in some serious hours in the beginning part of a project, but overall over the course of a year, let's put it this way. I'm a full-time stay-at-home dad with a 3-year-old. I mean, I was looking at my timesheet. I'm working maybe 15 hours a week.
Come on.
I'm serious.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't live to work. I work to live.
Yeah.
Well, this class that you're taking right now, I charge $3,000 a student for it. So if I get a class of 10 students, you can do the math on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Salesforce charges for this class?
But it's like $4,000 for a 3A class.
$4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah. So the thing is with them is you're not getting this class.
No, it's kind of standard.
Yeah. Do you think you're in Trailhead?
Probably.
Anyway, so you don't have to work 1 million hours to make a living in the modern environment. You just don't.
Right. Hey, I got a little question for you. Not that I'm not taking notes, but you know, you've done this access versus permissions grid many times. Do you have any documentation that you can share on that? That's your own thoughts or not?
What I do, you're getting.
Okay, that's fine. I'm taking it down.
Yeah, I don't. I've never been a big producer of content. I kind of like my classes to be Socratic in method. I probably should have been doing this a long time ago, but I'm lazy.
You don't have an overhead projector or something with some transparencies you can put up there?
Yeah, now that would be awesome. I forgot all about those.
There's a lot of silence because there's not a lot of people that probably know about it.
Do you remember the old slideshow protector that they had? It would be like clunk,
Oh, big
like
time.
the rotary ones.
Yeah, you turn it
big
to
time.
get a new slide.
Those companies went out of business, I'd wager.
I'm probably right. So did film strips.
Oh man.
And then you'd always get one teacher that would write on permanent marker.
That's totally something that I would do. I did that to a whiteboard at a client's one time. And somebody,
awesome.
somebody in the class knew a trick. So if you wrote over it again
With the dry erase, right?
with the same marker, it'll come off. So I just kind of took it off that way.
That's funny.
It's embarrassing.
That's funny. That's funny. Who
All right,
hasn't done
Joe.
something stupid?
Good times, good times.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you get if you own it?
Full.
Full. Does that
Mm-hmm.
mean you can actually do it?
No.
Just means you have access to do it. What if you don't have any access?
Mhm.
You can't do anything.
Yeah, well, what happens if I search for a record and I don't have any access?
You can't see it.
It doesn't even return a result, right?
Right.
So what if I don't own the record? What do I get as far as access?
Read only?
Well, no, that depends on what.
OWDs.
Okay, so if OWDs are set to private, owner gets full, everybody else gets
Nothing.
public read only. Owner gets
Mm-hmm.
full, everybody else gets.
Mhm.
You get that, right? Everybody understand this
Mhm.
one, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Roles? What's the role hierarchy do?
Override OWDs. And they
Using a
can
system
provide
of what?
full access. Roles and subordinates.
There, those are the words. What's the highest level of access I can give?
What did he? I'm sorry, I missed what he said. What were the words that were the magic words?
Well, here's the mantra. The role hierarchy overrides OWDs using a system of roles and subordinates, where the highest level of access that I can give is full. It's also a template that can be assigned to a user or a group of users. What are we sharing?
Access.
Access. It's number 3.
Profiles.
Profile. What's the profile do?
Permissions.
Control.
Permissions. Okay.
Control. Mm-hmm.
What a user can
Controls what
see and
the-
do, right?
Right.
It's also a template. Can be assigned to a user or a group of users. So when you see sales representatives on the test, you should know that they're probably really wanting to know what? Do you understand access versus permission? Because you got to know it's one or the other. We're talking about a group of users. Do we need to go through all these again, or can I skip that part? App, tab.
It's recorded.
Okay. What's permission set?
Customize your profile.
It has permission sets have nothing to do with the profile.
Adding permissions.
Provides additional functionality.
Additional permissions above and beyond a user's profile. Where do they get added?
The user.
To the user, not the profile. Permission sets. What if I change the profile? What happens?
Nothing to the permission set.
Well, if I change the profile and 30 people are assigned it,
The groups get.
everybody gets it. Permission set gets assigned to what?
User.
Just
User.
one user. This one is a group of
Just
users.
one user.
This is
Oh.
one user. See?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
View all, modify all. What are those?
Super users.
Super user permissions. What do they give us?
Full access.
What was this one?
Sharing rules.
What are we sharing?
Access.
Sharing access. How do we do an object level sharing rule?
Under sharing settings.
Sharing settings. How do I do a record level sharing rule?
OWDs.
That's
Oh,
object
sorry.
level.
That's object level.
Yep.
Manual sharing.
Manual sharing, how's that work?
You have to assign individual records to users.
And it's only available in,
Classic.
and we do it with a button, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. How else can I share one record?
Count teams.
Count teams, how do those work?
You have to add users to them and assign each level of access for an object.
Think related list.
Okay. Is there any such thing like contacts team or ops teams?
There is. Good question. That's what we call a good segue.
I missed that again. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. He said, is there a way to do it with ops and cases?
Okay.
So if you remember, the account team is a related list. The manual share is from a button. These are both record level.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, we also had a default account team. What was that one?
Another way to handle a bunch of records, actually bulk of records.
Where did we do it?
Under users,
Go to the
page.
user detail record. There's a related list called the default account team, and it adds users to every related list on the account record. Make sense?
Right.
There are also what we call op teams and case teams. Did you notice with account teams, it gave you related records that you could share? You could share contacts, you could share ops, you could share cases on the account team. With an op team and a case team, it's record specific. You don't get any related records here, but they operate very much like account teams in that you enable them. It adds a related list to the opportunity or the case. With case teams, the roles do matter. I'm not going to go into 100 hours of instruction on this. What we'll do instead is we're going to do a test question. So what did we say about test questions? What were my rules to live by?
Don't read the answer. Don't read the question.
Recency, latency. Oh,
That was some
Go
of it.
ahead,
I said, well, first, don't read the question or the answer set.
right. Right. Look for the keywords.
Look for the keywords. I think this one actually is on App Builder Study Guide.
That might be the most helpful thing you teach is how to approach the test.
Yeah, it
That's good
helps
stuff.
a lot. It really does.
Yeah. That's the same 5 test questions.
Yeah, this is the old study guide. I guess it is on admin.
Yeah.
I don't like to do any test questions that aren't directly from Salesforce because it's a nightmare out there. Here we go. All right. So the first thing we say is do not read the answers. The second thing we say is don't read the question. We're going to pick out our keyword.
Everything out.
Because there's so much here that, well, what's this one?
Sales.
Sales what?
Reps.
So they are what?
Groups,
Group of users. So I'm immediately thinking what?
roles, and profiles.
Roles or profiles, which really means what?
Means access or permission.
Are we talking about access or are we talking about permission? Okay, what's the next one?
It says access, but we shouldn't believe it's access.
Well, let's just do them in order. Product managers and sales reps are both what?
Groups of users.
Groups of users. We still don't know yet, do we? What about this one?
Nope. Opportunities.
Well, we're talking about the ops. They're selling certain products. What comes to mind here? Does anybody remember the two types of object level sharing rules? It's a test question.
Yeah, record-based and manual sharing, criteria sharing. Actually.
Yeah, criteria-based or record-based. Certain products makes me think maybe it could be that we're talking about a criteria-based sharing rule. I don't know that for a fact, but the certain products, it's making me think a little bit about a criteria-based sharing rule maybe. Product managers are a group of users we already accounted for. They don't have what?
Access, but we're not supposed to believe when they say access, are
We
we?
still don't know, do we? When they're assisting with what?
Opportunities. Oh,
A specific opportunity. How can we share one opportunity record? There's two ways.
manual share and account teams.
Manual share. Well, will account teams meet the requirement? What
No.
object are we on?
We don't know. Actually, we know the object, we don't know the record.
If you have an account team enabled, it's going to be all opportunities associated with that account. Does that make sense?
Right.
If I
Yes.
have an account with 1, 2, 3, 4 ops, if you have an account team where ops are set to read write, they're going to get read write to all 4. What did this one say? A specific what? Just
Okay.
one opportunity, isn't it?
There's criteria
Account teams.
based.
Well, we had a
So it's
manual share.
share.
Well, that's one way. There's one other way to do it. The op team related list. The opportunity team. So if you it's
right.
just one specific record.
Right.
Yeah, and we don't know that record.
But wouldn't that, Ryan, if you put them on the op team, wouldn't that give them access to multiple ops?
Just that one record.
The account team would, the op team would
It's
not.
record level sharing.
But in this case, we don't know the record. So I think opt-in will not be applicable here.
Well, we don't have to know the record because currently there's only two ways to share one opportunity. What are they?
Manual sharing and opt-ins?
Okay, so we don't know, right? So now I'm going to look at the answers.
No, but my question, Ryan, is at the opportunity team level, just like an account team, you don't dissect different individual records, correct?
With the account team,
B. Oh.
the account team here, see how the team is on the record? But that team allows you, if it's an account team, it allows you to add other related records. So if someone is on the account team and they have for opportunities set to read write, that means all opportunities related to that account will be on there.
Right.
That's not a specific op. With an op team, I'm going to go ahead and set this up since this is a pretty good case study now. So I'm going to enable op teams just like we did for account teams. Know that it's just going to be a related list on the opportunity. We're sharing one record. There's also default opportunity teams. Opportunity team settings there. And then I'm going to enable it just like before. And then I'm going to check these boxes, including this one. How many opportunity layouts do we need right now?
Only one.
Just one. So we're going to have to deal with that at some point, aren't we? Okay, so now they're enabled. So now my opportunity records have a related list on them. So if I'm looking for one specific op, that related list will now be there. And notice this time, when I go to add, oh, not an account team. Oh, crap. That's not what I wanted. Add opportunity team members. Here we go. So if you could do an opportunity team, I could make Joe, but it's just that one record. See?
Mm-hmm.
So if we go back to our question, there's only two ways to share one opportunity record. One is a manual share, one is with an op team. So notify the product manager using opportunity update reminders. Enable opportunity teams and allow users to add the product manager.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like it?
To me, it does. Let's see.
Keep looking. Use similar opportunities to show opportunities related to the product manager.
Nope.
Enable account teams and allow users to add the product manager.
That's where they try to trick you, right?
Now, see
There's
primacy.
there's your latency trick.
Yep, primacy and recency here. Do you see it? Everybody in this class, I bet about 80% of you, if not more, would have chosen D here.
Do you hear more about account teams? Why did that? I think that's why I misanswered earlier.
Yep.
It just seemed to jump out of my mouth.
Yep. Op teams, account teams are obscure enough and kind of different than the norm enough to where people, it's another thing that people skip.
Got it.
But
I think you're right. I think
if you truly understand the concepts and terminology on the study guide, you can't fail the exam. Doug asked me on LinkedIn, how long it would take. I was like, well, what did I say? I said,
you said there's 40 hours worth.
Well, that's how long the class is.
Right.
But as soon as you can go
as soon as you know everything. Right.
As soon as you can go through everything on the outline for the study guide, demo it, and talk intelligently about the concepts and terminology, you cannot fail the exam, can you?
Hope not.
Most of you will the first time. I failed it the first time. I failed Sales Cloud like 4 times. So, anybody failed it already?
Before you figured out your methodology on taking tests, or was that even once you knew kind of the Salesforce trickery?
No, the first time I took it, it was right after I went to the class. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So they had a free voucher if you took the class, so I took it then. I took it again a year later. It passed.
Back in 2016, they still have Trail DX, but this was in Las Vegas, and you got 3 free. I won't say free as part of the cost of the tuition, but you have a week-long class at DX, and you get 3 attempts at whatever exams you want to test for.
That's cool.
I want a COVID voucher. How do I get that?
Good luck with that.
Well, they did have they're offering a discount for the exams right now. I think it was $78 off if you went to one of their classes.
I wonder who came up with $70 on that.
I don't know.
Anyway, you see my my technique here?
Yep.
I'm not reading this thing and trying to do the math in my head. I'm just looking at the terms and I'm just writing out basically what I know to be true about the terms. And I'm coming to the conclusion of what the concept is they're talking about. Then I just got to find it in the answer set. It's a much better system than reading them through and trying to guess the answers. I'm telling you, you'll fail it. All right. Good stuff. Oh man, I'm never going to get back there. Okay, so there's one final piece. How much time we got left? Okay, yeah, we can do this. Oh, at 3:40, actually, we are going to need to stop. I believe I have a guest speaker coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if he's here. Don't see him yet. We'll give him. Why don't we take a little 5-minute break? And then when we come back, hopefully he'll be in the room and he can show you an application that they've developed that's pretty neat. I think it's good to see what's out there and to hear it from the horse's mouth, as we say in the States. I don't know where that cliche came from. So let's take 5 minutes and we'll come right back.
Yep.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Conrad.
Hey, Ryan, can you hear me?
I can. I just pinged you, so you can you can disregard.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Yeah.
So, everybody, this is Conrad. I'll let him introduce himself in a moment. We had a pretty good conversation in regards to an application that they were selling. We just got on the App Exchange. It's kind of like the Google Play Store for Salesforce. We just got most of the way through security. We still have field level security to cover, but they got a pretty good general understanding of that. So I'll just kind of leave it to you.
There we go. Got the video going. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, so guys, thanks for having me. My name's Conrad Ock. I'm with a company called Elements Cloud. If you haven't heard of us, we're the folks that do the org confessions. And if you haven't heard of that and you need a good laugh about Salesforce, go ahead and check that out. So I actually connected originally with Ryan just around giving back to the community, as you know, he's been offering training sessions to support the ecosystems in the times that we're facing. And right now, Elements is aligned very well with that. We're offering our tools for free to help Salesforce admins, devs, BAs, pretty much anybody making changes in the environments to be able to use our tools to do that better or with less risk. And yeah, I just wanted to have a open conversation, show off a little bit of the software in terms of what people are using it for.
Cool. Go ahead, man. You've got the ball. All you got to do is hit the share button, I think. You want to show?
Go, yeah. Perfect. I'll keep the PowerPoint presentation to one slide. How's that?
That's fine with me. We're we are PowerPoint light. So go ahead.
Good, as you should be, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of something I want to hit on a little bit later when we're talking about the tool, but just bear these points in mind. Salesforce has become strategic. It used to be a you know, a tool, a nice to have tool that companies were getting into, but now it's mission critical. And because it's such an easy to use, easy to make change environment, there's this, let's call it unintended byproduct of complexity. And over time, depending on, you know, you guys are probably in different orgs operating in different tenures. Let's say some of you might be in a 1-year-old org, others in 10, 12, 15, 20-year-old orgs. Everyone's got something a little bit different. And those orgs, the more complex, the more changes are made, over periods of time, the more hands in the cookie jar, so to speak, the more complex they get and the more difficult it is to figure out what exactly is going to happen if you do change something. And so this complexity slows down the team's ability to make changes at the speed of business, or whatever you want to call it, right? Quickly. So in today's ecosystem, in terms of the app exchange, that's really where you'll start to find tools to support this, because Salesforce is not, that's not their mission to provide enterprise tooling within the platform. That's what the app exchange offers, right? Hundreds of thousands of companies being able to say, look, if you want to accomplish X, we support that in the CRM. So yeah, let me just jump into the platform here. Let's start with opportunities. So we're just in my demo account here. I'll pull up an opportunity just to show you what it looks like for the end user, because I like to start with the end user in mind, because those are the little kitties you guys have to take care of on a daily basis. So so here, you guys are probably muted, but I'll ask you just to pipe up if you notice anything different than the usual page layout or usual UI you might see in Lightning here. If anything jumps off the page at you.
Let's see, you have something that says elements process design or an process diagram to the right of chatter, which is not normal.
Okay, yeah. Right, yeah, we got a tab. Yeah, we got a tab there. Okay, so we can access different information. Okay, I don't think I've populated this one, but this is for visual representation, connecting back to the mothership. So we have an app, we've got a Chrome extension, and a managed package. So you can make processes available. So if the salesperson has to follow a specific process, you know, what does it take to convert a lead to an account or to a contact in an account? And how do we create an opportunity, and what's required for a partner opportunity, right? Is the process different, et cetera? We provide at the end user level in the UI accessibility to be able to gain access to those resources. And this is one of them, right? Being able to see this and make it available, or make different resources available to the end users. So something else you'll see here next to opportunity name, this purple eye, the information. So the help, if I click on one of these, you know, this one's a link to a video, Could be a link to a web page, could be a document, PowerPoint, etc. Also, the object itself, the opportunity object, has that ability to have resources provided to the end user. So whether it's something in Trailhead they should probably be aware of, maybe it's a naming convention, right? How do we name opportunities properly? Whatever it is. The idea here is that you can redirect to different sites as well. It's just where the questions arise, you want to be able to provide the information so that you're not getting tapped on the shoulder, or I guess emailed now, right? Whenever there's an issue and you got to go run around, do these smaller tasks that really takes you away from your larger purpose.
So from what I'm gathering you, those purple circles are when a user asks themselves, what do I do here? What information goes in this field? Then those little links can help address how that field should be supplied with information. Is that right?
That's right. And if so, let's like, what do I do as a sales user with this stage, right? Value proposition. What does that mean? I can click on that and, oh, here's stages, definitions. So I can read through this and say, oh, you know what? Maybe we're actually at the needs analysis stage based on this information. And if it's helpful, I can say yes as feedback to, the gods that oversee my CRM, and they can understand that, great, this information was beneficial to a user. At the same time, I can leave feedback saying something like, what do I do if it's a partner opportunity? Partner opti, right? And then I can post that, and that ends up on the back end if, well, as we're going to see next.
So your users are contacting you with questions about the interface in the form of a feed. Isn't that cool?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
That's what I liked about this product as an admin, because we're all, like, for me, especially right after rollout, I'm really looking for user adoption. And a lot of times if they don't like something, they'll just stop using the tool. They're trying to disengage immediately. So I like, especially with the stage pick list, the average salesperson in the modern business environment does not know that the stage pick list is the business process, right? So this kind of functionality, kind of walking your user through how to enter these fields, it's really neat, I think.
Yeah, there's a market niche called sales enablement, and all they're trying to do is help. Like it's part of, it's, and sales enablement as it applies to Salesforce, we're trying to increase user adoption by making their jobs easier so that they can win business and follow the process by getting closer to their software and using it more.
Does that sound familiar, everybody? I mean, we've been saying the same thing for 6 classes now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm jumping in at
just
towards
different
the end.
words. He used different words for the plunge.
Okay.
We start very restrictive. We start less complex. And as we move through the plunge, we add access, permission, functionality until we come back through that productivity line again, right? And that's what they're doing here. They are lowering the amplitude and frequency of the plunge with this. Do you see that?
So has the group made it past the profiles and permissions?
What do you guys think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Any
All right.
questions? What do you guys think?
Yes-ish.
How many, is everyone live in an account? Are you guys all, or you have some experience managing end users in an environment? Or is it sort of some people yes, some people no?
I think it's a little bit everybody in here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do not.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, it's hard to know what it's like on the field without playing the game.
Right.
But you're gonna ramp up pretty quick once you get in your own org, and the ecosystem is very, very hot for picking up admins with training. So, you definitely came to the right place to get training with Ryan. You can be armed to the teeth once you hit the market.
Thanks.
So, well, that's just what we're in right now. I'm a sales guy and I'm studying to get my admin cert, working through Trailhead when I can.
Well, come to this class.
Yeah, no, Ryan, you think I won't? Come on, man.
I mean, it's on. I'll send you the YouTube channel so you can watch the previous classes and catch up.
Okay.
And then feel free to join us live whenever. If a couple of you guys want to join, more the merrier.
Sounds good. Let me for the admins who have been operating in environments, let me show you what it looks like on the other side of the fence here.
Yeah, awesome.
So here I've pulled up the opportunity object. And well, got to refresh. Well, we can look at the org model just while that refreshes. This is what's going on in the background. It's an app with a managed package and the Chrome extension, like you saw. And what it builds is a metadata tree diagram, just so you can walk through your environment. I want to look at dashboards and all the reports there. I want to see all the objects, custom and standard. So if we pull up standard objects, come to the opportunity, we click on the opportunity, and over here on the right, and this is where the company gets its name from, we show all the elements that make up this object. So field sets, record types, validation rules, processes, custom fields, page layouts, everything. And we do that by connecting through the metadata API to essentially read what's going on in the background and then unearth it so it's available to you guys. And I think if we jump into fields, it's going to make more sense in terms of applicability on the back end. So something like, or maybe we can pull up that stage field again. Stage.
This is really interesting because I always get a question in class at some point where they say, is there anywhere where you can just see all of this stuff in one place? And the answer in Salesforce is no.
Unfortunately, it's nature of the beast, right? Like
so
they want you to know setup so well.
Yeah. And this really meets that requirement pretty well.
Right. So we were looking at the stage field at the end here, right? And we pulled up the stages definitions. So this is where the documentation would get loaded to add documentation for the stage field. So I can add images. Actually, hold on a second. We've got multiple stage fields here. Look at this. This environment's got to get cleaned up. There it is. See, look, this is the actual stage field that's being used there on that page layout.
The C is a custom, I'm assuming.
There you go.
Standard and custom.
Yeah, standard and custom. You got it.
Why is there a custom stage, I wonder?
Why hasn't it been cleaned up? Where's the documentation saying why this was built?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's great. I love it.
Because that's we all want to know why. Because you walk.
Why is that field empty all the time?
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Like if you're here and you're like, man, this page layout's a mess. It's taken sales reps or any end user support staff 5 minutes just to key in or find their one pick list to select one value, save, and move on.
Yep.
You can pop open this, if it's this particular field, you can see usage. You can see where it's used. Right? Page layouts, these 5, the reports, 3 reports. You can also see where it's been confirmed. It is absolutely not here. So you don't have to worry about blowing anything up code-wise in Apex. There's no workflow involved. Okay, great. And then from there, if you are running like a cleanup expedition or mission, now this is something pretty new. So we build the tree diagram through the metadata API, but there's another API Salesforce offers called the dependency API, and that's what this is accessing, because it's saying, look, this field stage, if you were to make a change to that, here's the other aspects within the environment that would be impacted as well with this one change, so that if I go to make this change, let's take a step back. Let's say you're asked to make a change. Someone comes to you and says, we need the name of this change, we need this field changed for whatever reason. Let's keep it simple. You can say, well, okay. They can say, we need this done by end of day or end of week, whatever. And you can say, well, hold on, let me take a look and see how long it should take. And if you see, you know, Apex in here, if you see any triggers or flows, I mean, even approval processes pertaining to finance or marketing or, you know, other aspects of the business. You say, this might take a little longer because I got to go to these different departments and confirm we can make that change and show them that it is actually going to impact what they're doing or what they've already built. So maybe we can't get it done end of day. And this also prevents you from saying, oh, you need it done real fast, let me go do that. And you go and do it, and it
Shuts down everything.
Yeah, now the CFO is calling you.
I did an integration with a client that was using a texting application. And we were doing texting in the process builder. And man, that was a learning experience, right? You make one little mistake. Like, for instance, this is a little bit over their head, but for instance, if you have more than one process built in the process builder and you're doing something that is a scheduled action, you with me? If I go and change the process and activate the new, so I clone the original, make the change, activate the new process, what was happening is that the previous events were still scheduled from the previous, the interviews, they call them, flow interviews, were,
right, because
were
it was
still
there.
set. So they were firing twice. You know what I mean? It was a learning experience for sure. But I mean, all of this is really, really helpful. Even if it's over your head at this point, folks, this is like analytics that we just don't have available in the tool that they're making available for people that are building. You know, the back end folks can see what's going on and they don't run into these nightmare scenarios where they make a change and it breaks the whole thing down.
Yes, especially this dependency analysis is really good, because whenever we want to delete or alter a thing, we want to know its implications. And this provides a holistic view. And I think it's really great to have this dependency analysis.
That's a good point. And that's, we kind of like to say this is the BA view, because they're the ones that are doing the analytical aspect of research within the platform. And we also have this org analytics, which is just, if you guys haven't done or you haven't run Optimizer, the Optimizer report in the org that you work in, it's worth a shot to run it. It'll shoot you an email in 5 minutes saying, look, here's a PDF, but it's just a snapshot. It's not actionable. It shows some key aspects that we can pull up, but not everything.
Not even close to everything. Not even close.
Fair. But it's still a step in this direction, and that's how you can get your feet wet.
Yeah.
We're also offering a free trial. If you guys do want to, you can go to elements.cloud, free trial under, I think it's under pricing. Yeah, free trial. It's got a video to walk you through installing it, getting it set up, and essentially what you're going to be able to see in your setup environment is being able to turn this right panel, we call it, on and off, so that you can walk through whether it's an object, like the opportunity object, if you want to go field by field and look at usage. You can even click on a page layout and say, you know, these aren't being used, these fields. I want to deprecate them. Let's just pull this one up.
So I've got a hard stop here at 4 p.m. Just so
okay, got it.
But I really appreciate you coming in and taking the time to show us. What I've decided from you contacting me, I've kind of put out there on LinkedIn, if any other app makers want to come and discuss their apps in this series of workshops, then that's great. So if you have other products you'd like to pitch or folks inside that want to get certified, you know, please send them our way. And if you are in an org that could use a product like Conrad's, please give them a ring. Go to the App Exchange, pull it down.
Yeah, you can also go to the website. Actually, Ryan, I can send you a link, or you guys can connect with me on LinkedIn, or actually, I think it's on our homepage. Right at the very top, elements.cloud, there's a link that says MIME, Maximum Impact Minimum Expense, and it's got 3 video tutorial walkthroughs on how to use our free trial to remove managed packages.
Oh, that's nice.
Validate dashboard for executives, and clean up the UI, clean up page layouts. Each one is step by step. It's a 5-minute video, and if you do the free trial, you'll have all the tools you need to be able to accomplish that.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time and attention today. And with that, everyone, I won't assign any homework tonight because I know you didn't do the homework last time. So let's try and get the security section in Dev Beginner completed in Trailhead, and you'll see that Trailhead does not teach security very well, but I think you will be able to meet the requirements of the challenges since you've had some instruction. It'd be nice to have that done by Thursday, if possible. Or what is today?
Today's Thursday.
Today's Thursday, so it'd be Tuesday. All my days have run together, as I'm sure yours have as well. But thank you, everybody, for being with us today. I'll have the recordings for Tuesday and today up before Tuesday.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you
Ryan,
hopefully
thanks,
on
Conrad.
Tuesday.
All right. Peace.
Take care, everybody.